All right. Good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining me today for this virtual component of our April field trip or April meeting, followed by a field trip afterwards for those who signed up. This morning, we are going to have an update on the DWR Watershed Resilience Project from Lynn Rodriguez and Laura Schellenberger. They're going to be going over a couple different important aspects of the project, and then we'll try to wrap everything up by 10 if we have time. Casey with California Fish and Wildlife, he is going to be kind of going over some of the monitoring work that they do before we break to do a field trip and see what that monitoring site looks like. So thank you for that. Lynn put in the chat that if you are available or if you're able to, please put your name, your organization in the comments, just so we have a record of everyone who's joining us today. Before I hand it over to Lynn, I just want to open up the floor to see if anybody has any updates they want to give. Julie, I think that you emailed me last week, right? You had something you wanted to mention.
Right, thank you. Is now the time, or are you just?
Yeah, you can do it now, yeah.
Okay. We and likely some of you at this meeting are working with California Invasive Plant Council. They are having their annual symposium this year in November in Ventura. And they have asked some of their local partners to offer up field trip ideas. They like to do tours of sites that are in similar geographic areas. And it can be half day or full day. And the first planning meeting will be this afternoon. And if anyone has ideas or would like to offer sites that can be part of a half to full day invasive plant tour in November, I'd be happy to be your emissary and bring the ideas to the executive director who's arranging these. So since this is just for one watershed, that this group would be ideal because we all work on issues just within this one watershed. It would make it easy for logistical reasons and planning if we can identify sites in the same general area. So it's not necessary today, but I can put my contact information in the chat. And if anybody has ideas right now, I can take them to the meeting this afternoon. We are working at the Steelhead Preserve with the RCD and Land Conservancies to do a prescribed burn study for weed control. So we'll be offering that.
I was about to say, oh, my coworker who does the prescribed burns, but you already made that connection. So it's great.
Julie, is the idea, are you looking for sites that have both this current invasives and restoration work or removal going on? Are you looking for pre, post, or what's? Oh, you're muted, sorry.
Thank you. It's kind of switching itself off and on. Yes, but all of those, as long as if it's a restoration site that has no evident invasive species on it, then we would request a representative who worked on that restoration to explain before and after.
So Heidi, should people maybe put ideas in the chat?
Yeah, you can put ideas in the chat. Julie, you can also leave your email in the chat as well. So if people have an idea but they want to check with their coworker or something first, they can just copy your email. reach out to you.
I'll do that now. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Does anyone else have any updates they want to provide to the council?
Thanks, Julie. That was a really helpful update. And it kind of ties to mine, which could be a fun thing that we can discuss a little more. Of course, OVLC has been working for a very long time on Arundo removal, and we've also been working on watershed-wide programmatic permits. And I received an update from CDFW last week saying that we've received a letter of concurrence for the first programmatic SERP in the state of California to do Arundo removal, invasive plant removal, and riparian restoration for our watershed. So that could be a fun tour that we could go see some sites that we've done or that are in progress, or maybe a combination of, I'd have to think through it a little more. And then also maybe a good talk that we could use, because it's a great model that I know CDFW Cutting the Green Tape team is excited to have us kind of share that more broadly and make that applicable in other watersheds. So yeah, be a good one for Cal IPC. So thanks, Julie. And yeah, so that was our big update. Programmatic SERP has been done. Yay! After 2 years of lots
Yeah, congrats.
work. So thank you. Shout out to the RCD for being our lead agency, and for all your guys' support throughout it all. And big shout out to Colleen Del Vecchio at PAX Environmental. You know, pushing that through, a really big deal. We're still working on all of the permits. So we still have all that working. We expect to have those within the next 6 months. So really big thing. We'll have a lot to update you guys on over the coming months. Really cool. And the other thing that I wanted to give an update on, which is a fun thing, it's, what is it, 3 weeks away. We are hosting our second annual Native Garden Tour on April 26th. So we're going to have 15 certified native plant gardens that, you know, contribute to biodiversity in the Ojai Valley. And also our birdsong ranch is going to be a part of it as well. So if anyone's seen that kind of big white house below the Steelhead Preserve, that's also included in the tour. And it'll be really fun. So go get your tickets. I've got my little booklet. I don't know if you can see it here, but it's really cute. Oh, get really, but yeah. So yeah, hope everyone can do that. And I can, what is it? I can drop a link in the chat for that. So
I was about to tell you to do that, so thank you. Does anyone else have any updates to give? All right. Okay, Lynn, I think you're in the clear. If we want to move on to DWR now.
Yeah, awesome. Those are great reports. Thank you,
Yeah.
everyone. So I'm Lynn Rodriguez with the project manager for the Watershed Resilience Pilot Project in the watershed, and happy to see everybody here today. And really appreciate this group and your support as the network for this project that we're doing. And Laura, the co-manager with me, is, both of us are busy working on a lot of different things, and we try to keep you updated through these meetings and then through some of the newsletters that Heidi sends out. So I'm going to share my screen. All right. Sorry, I had it open and nope. Okay. Go back and computer is misbehaving. Laura, I'm not sure what's happening with my computer right now. Would you? I can't even stop share.
I can try to stop it for you if you want to.
Okay. That worked. Laura, do you have it open or do you want me to keep trying? You're on mute.
muted, Laura.
Sorry, everybody. I have it all ready to go. Let me try again. Maybe it just fell down below.
Okay.
Oh, thank you. Well, sorry about that. So if you want to go to the next slide, these are the things we wanted to report to you this morning about the activities that we've been working on and the things that are coming up. So we'll be reporting on the advisory group meeting, which was held, the first official advisory group meeting, which was held on March 1st, March 17th. And Vivon will be giving a little update about that. The second item is from that advisory group meeting, we had a great presentation from Mike Antos, one of our consultants, about networks. And this group is serving as a network, and there might be different interpretations of what that means or what's the value of a network. So we're going to give you just a high level, some information about that, but there are some slides. That slideshow that Mike presented is actually on the advisory group website under the first meeting. You have to find the slides within the whole presentation, but you can refer to that later if you're interested. We're going to talk about the Vision and Goals Forum that we have coming up at the end of the month. We'll get lots of information out to you over the next few weeks. An update on the different activities of the consultant teams that we're working with, and upcoming tasks preview. Any questions about that? Okay. Well, I'm going to turn it over now to Vivon Sedgwick, who is our fearless leader chair of the advisory group and working with us behind the scenes to make sure that's an effective technical review group to advise you, the council members, and advise the process and the consultants. So take it away, Vivon.
Wonderful. Thanks, Lynn. Hi. Yeah. So I am Vivon Sedgwick from the Ohio Valley Land Conservancy again. I am the chair of our technical advisory group, and OVLC has been really involved in, the Watershed Council, the development of the watershed management plan. And so, really trying to continue that process and make this as effective as we can be. So I'm really excited to be here and happy to chat with anyone. I'll make sure to put my contact information in the chat. So if anyone wants to reach out and has any other questions, I'm always happy to talk about anything. And so, yeah, a quick overview of, from my perspective, kind of what we covered in the last advisory committee meeting. What is it, 2-ish weeks ago? My sense of time is a little crazy because we just got back from a CCLT conference, everyone. So bear with me on that. But what did we do? So we really did, we went over the StuMap network assessment survey, which I know I'll just give a really high level overview of all this because I know Lynn and Laura will go deep into it. But, a big thing we did do was we approved the advisory group's rules and protocols. So that is established for us as, just understanding how we move forward and kind of contribute and give feedback to this whole process to Lynn and Laura. What else is there? And right now the committee is working on information gathering for the water budget. So we're really looking for some key contacts to give us some feedback there. And also finalizing the StuMap survey, which we are really going to want broad participation for. Okay. That I think is the thing that is that was my big takeaway from this was the more organizations, agencies, water districts, everything. The more of us who participate in this survey within our watershed, who do work in our watershed, the better this is going to be for all of us. Which really kind of leads me into the follow-up agenda item of our kind of, the value of networks. So I'll leave it at that, really. But yeah, I don't know if Lynn and Laura want to fill in any more about what we cover, like what we covered in the meeting.
You want to go back one slide, Laura, because I wanted everybody to see, mentioned it a little bit ago, but there is a website that we have for this project, and there's a sub page on that website with a link on the main page to the advisory group. And we'll be keeping agendas and meeting notes and presentation materials and other things. We can also post the protocols document. I don't think it's there now. And you know, we encourage all of you that are not on the technical committee, and there are a lot of you that are on it, but if you're not and you want to follow things, you can refer to that website, and we'll try to keep that, you know, up to date on a regular basis so that you can access that information. And if you don't find something you're looking for there, please reach out to Heidi, and you know, we can make sure we add it. So that's going to be your kind of a communication tool for everybody to stay up to date between meetings. Okay, we can go back. And I think you did cover everything. It was a good long meeting, but we did have some presentations. And the network presentation, I don't know if you want to start off with this one and just your observations as someone attending the meeting.
Absolutely. Okay, so I had kind of big takeaways, which I think for me, it's like things we kind of we experience because we do have a really robust network with the Watershed Council. But I think just putting words to it was really helpful for me. So like at their core, networks means kind of knowing who to call, because we all have our own strengths and specializations, and we don't need to duplicate processes. We can, you know, lean on our partners and, you know, reach out to them and be really like more efficient with the work that we're doing. So I just thought that was really meaningful. And, you know, I think this will lead into the next slide, and I can let you guys fill in more, but the big piece that I took away also was it's all about giving and getting, right? And so I think in this process of developing this watershed resilience plan that we're working on right now, you know, the more that we are all able to give to this plan, the more we're all going to get out of it, right? Because we all, you know, planning processes can be not, you know, not effective, right? And we really want this to be effective. And so, you know, what does effective look like in terms of what are we going to get out of it, right? This can really open up a lot of funding sources for all of us. You know, it can really lead to better, more meaningful collaboration on the projects that we're all working on. So, you know, I know that it's going to require, you know, this whole process requires a little bit more, but we are all, I think, going to get something good out of it if we give a little. So that's all I got.
Yeah, thank you, Vivon. That was a great summation of kind of the highlights. And just a little bit about Mike Antos, who did the presentation. We kind of think of him in the water world, those of us that know him and have worked with him, as kind of the network guru. He's counseled and advised the state on some projects and processes, as well as all the work he's done. And he's a firm believer in this kind of thing, you know, networking, and there's different kinds of networks, which we did not put that slide in here. But that slide is in there are a series of slides in the last advisory group meetings presentation, and you can look at that some more. And there's even a book recommendation, Networks That Work. If you really want to nerd out on networks, you can dive into that. But we're fortunate to have Mike as a thought partner on this project because he's helping us in a lot of different ways, using his expertise to match ours. And he has said in the past, and he even did his doctoral thesis about Ventura County and the IRWM program and how, you know, collaborative and how we work so well together across the county, but also he's noticed in this watershed. So we already have a big head start on, you know, using our relationships and networking opportunities, and we just want to see how we might strengthen that going forward. So Laura, did you want to add anything?
No, I think you guys covered it perfectly.
So are there any questions about that first meeting or about
The
kind of the whole network?
or the advisory group. Just a reminder, the advisory group is meeting every other month.
And they're all virtual.
Yeah.
And the workshop coming up will not be virtual, but our meetings are. So we welcome you to participate in those meetings, and the website also has the meeting schedule on it.
Yeah, they're open for if somebody would like to attend. It's not on the advisory group, so.
And, you know, the agendas, we're trying to, you know, we're matching the agenda topics to obviously where we are in the grant. And so the next meeting will probably dive more into climate change, just hazards and climate predictions and more on the water budget.
Yeah. I think we'll be establishing some climate scenarios of what we'll be analyzing. So different degrees warming scenarios and discussing that.
Oh, Julie, your hand's raised.
I thank you. Laura, do you have any gaps on the advisory committee with regard to experts in certain topics that you could use? We could maybe help you identify people.
That's a great question. We certainly don't have like a full, I would say, roster. There's room. I would, you know, on the advisory group, we've kind of left it at the moment. The initial starting point was that we invited all the current Watershed Council leadership committee members to join. Of course, not all of them took us up on that offer or are engaging at a more involved level. So we will think more. I don't think we've revisited that at the moment and thought about what upcoming expertise, but I think, you know, that might be something we'll discuss maybe with Vivon and the chair and kind of talk about that. But I think that is a really good question. And I don't have a direct answer on thinking about where our gaps are, but I certainly think that there may be some room for adding expertise. And there, just because we also, you know, serving on the advisory group is one level of involvement, but we are bringing a lot of the work to the Watershed Council, and there's opportunities, of course, to engage there. And if there's a specific questions we have, we will of course be looking out on who we can contact as well.
So Julie, did you have a specific area of expertise you were wondering?
Or are you interested?
Our UC A&R, we're pretty broad-based. We work locally and regionally. We have a lot of partners from within and without our organization. And so I'm just offering to help, and on both of those levels, whether it's specialists that you need or voices with certain foci in the advisory council. So please feel free to reach out and we'll help you identify people and fill the gaps in the process.
Let's do that.
That's great.
That's a great suggestion. And I wanted to just add to that this is focused on water and ancillary water systems related things. So that's kind of a lens. And I'm just thinking one possible component of that is like water use for Arundo, which Arundo is a big focus in the watershed. So that's an example of where I know you guys have research expertise, you know, research capacity, and we do work with UCSB a fair amount in this area, and they do some of that work, but that would be a good example. Anything that kind of relates back to water systems.
Right. So Lynn, are you aware that there is a weed management agency in Ventura County? And so, okay. So we're part of it. But it's led by the Agricultural Commissioner of Ventura County, and there are many, just to get back to your one example, many Arundo experts and researchers that are part of the WMA, or the weed management area. Sorry, I misspoke. It's weed management area, not agency. So, yeah, if you need a connection with that, they can put out, but yeah, I mean, Arundo, unfortunately, I mean, I don't want to get off topic here because we have a short meeting today, but you know, it's an opportunistic sort
Yeah.
of pest. And so it's like wherever it can find water, it's going to take it. So anyway, that's a whole different subject, probably a whole meeting's worth, right?
Julie, well, I thank you so much. And I thought your suggestion absolutely will reach out to you, especially as we go through, as we get our information on the water budget, if there's gaps we need filled, I think we'll definitely reach out to you on that. And also with the climate scenarios, right? I know you all are doing a lot of that research. And I think there's a lot of good information and contacts you can provide with. So that would be awesome. We'll definitely make sure to have you a part of that process. And we should definitely, I will send you an email after this about Arendo. So we should talk about our programmatic permits because it's really exciting. And the work that we're doing.
Good. So hydrology, water quality, we really do system-wide internally and with our partners, we have contacts for all those water-related topics. I think most of them. And then there's the soils water component relationship, right? Anyway, bye.
Great. Thank you
Let's
so
go
much.
on with the meeting.
Thank you, Julie. Appreciate
Okay,
it.
You're welcome.
Okay. Any other questions? We'll move on. Okay.
Sorry, I didn't mean to move us on. If there were other questions, we're happy to going back to the advisory group. Not seeing any. Okay. So next we on our list of updates on the Watershed Resilience Project, we wanted to share with you all that we do have an upcoming forum. We've talked about these, I think in the past we've called them workshops, but we decided forum was a more fitting term for this. So that's what we're referring to. This is the first of what will be a series of, I think, 3 or 4 potentially over this year. And the first one, we have set the date for April 30th. It's a Wednesday in the late afternoon at Camp Arnez in Oakview. This will be in person only. And we hope that as many of you that can attend will join us. We will be discussing kind of a high-level overview, sharing of the watershed information, and then really diving in and having some interactive activities, identifying challenges and climate hazards, geographically also within the watershed, and getting that feedback and input from you all. And then that will dovetail into developing problem statements that as part of the plan and the grant requirements. And we will also go through an exercise of developing a shared resilience vision for the Watershed Resilience Plan. So I will drop in the chat. We just created our registration or our RSVP form. Of course, this is free. We hope you all will attend in person. So I will drop a link to that. We are also working on developing some outreach materials, flyers, and newsletter snippets, and that we will share with those that, especially on our advisory group, that we'll be able to put into some of their newsletters. So you might see more information about this workshop popping up, but this is hot off the press, so I don't have any of that quite ready to share with you. But I will put a link to the RSVP form in the chat. Any other questions about that?
Thanks, Laura. I just wanted to add that, there's 4 other pilot regions working on these issues, and we stay in touch with them. And our consultants at Rincon are also serving one of the other pilots, the Pajaro Valley, and they had their vision forum last month. Yeah, it was early March. And so we get to benefit from kind of seeing how they did their activities and using the same. They were facilitated, that one was facilitated by the Stantec team. We are going to be facilitating this first one, Laura and I. But we are, benefiting from learning from the folks that are just a tiny bit ahead of us. So it's an exciting opportunity to kind of formally kick off the program for some folks that haven't been engaged until now.
Bruce, your hand is raised.
Yeah, I just had a question. I wondered if it would be possible to delay the release of the questionnaire until after the results of the first forum, because that would kind of focus what is important in the watershed by the stakeholders, and then the questionnaire about how effective collaboration is could be focused on those concerns.
Wow. Well, we were
Just a-
trying to, yeah.
Just a thought.
I totally understand. That sounds like a really efficient thing to do. We are on a really tight timeline with the survey and getting those results out to help inform other things that come later. We'll have to think, and we're launching it May 1st, officially launching it through the platform that CSU is creating. And so we might not be able to do that, but I think we should definitely talk about, we still have to talk about the questions and address your issues, Bruce, and others that have commented, and keeping in mind how we might reword some of the questions to help.
And I do think that our goal with the survey, which we have another slide on, but is to reflect on not necessarily this how we're doing during this process in terms of collaboration, but where we're also our starting point. So I do think that it's valuable to, it's more of a baseline too. Yeah, and timing wise, I think that unfortunately it just wouldn't be feasible to hold off on launching the survey till after or getting the results of the survey before the workshop.
Yeah. But thank you for thinking about that, Bruce.
Vice versa. Give them the link.
Anything else? Anybody else have a forum related question? Okay, you'll be seeing lots of email traffic about this coming up, and social media and other things. So do you want to go on to the next slide? So we've already talked about this network assessment survey. This is part of task 3 in the grant. And then those of you on the advisory group are already looking at the draft questions that we've been working on together with our team at CSU. And that will be utilizing a stew map format where all the input comes in. We added the climate change questions because we would like to get that input, but the real purpose of this survey is to assess how healthy our networks are within the watershed, what's working, what's not, who are we missing, how do we, improve those connections and interactions between entities and networks within the watershed. So the first part of the survey is for that purpose, and it will be graphically displayed in a network map. And also some story maps that the consultants will create that will be part of the watershed resilience plan. We will also put together some other information based on that will be part of the deliverable that we provide to the state. But that network assessment is a really valuable tool for us to better understand what's already happening and what we could be doing better. And it will ultimately help inform what happens with the council going forward, since the council is the network and the council will continue. So we hope to have some good lessons learned. We are working hard on making sure the survey is, for one, not too long, doesn't take too long to fill out, but also clear. And some of the language in there is up for interpretation, and thank you, Bruce, for bringing that up. There's words that we all use so often, we forget that some people have a different meaning for them than other people. So we probably will work on that, maybe providing some common language that people can be using when they're responding to a question about how well they collaborate, for example, or what does resilience mean? Do they feel like the mission of their organization or the work they're doing is helping improve resilience? So those are all the things we've been doing behind the scenes. Oh, can you go back? Because I wasn't done with that slide.
All right.
Thanks. We are having a beta test happening. We're asking for volunteers from the advisory group to be beta testers. And we've had a few volunteers already. And what that means is when the consultants put their survey together on the platform they're going to use, which I believe is Qualtrics, if you know anything about those things. And they will have this smaller beta test group go through it and respond to it, and then find if there's anything we need to tweak in the survey before we release it to everybody. So that's why we can't release it until May 1st. It takes a while to load it into the platform. Then we'll beta test it. We'll give people a week or so to do that, and then they'll go back to the questions and see if anything needs to change before they launch it. So that's the process. Does anybody have any questions about that? Okay. Do you want to?
Oh, so just last thing we want to share is just upcoming next steps. Reminder, things coming up. Again, the Vision and Goals Forum in Oakview. I put a link in the chat if you want to go ahead and RSVP, and you can share that with others if you'd like. And then we do have our regular schedule of advisory group meetings every other month. The next one's May 19th. And then the next Watershed Council meeting is, I think, scheduled early the first week of June, as usual. And then just generally other work that's happening behind the scenes right now is the launch of the network assessment survey Lynn just talked about. We also are working with CAUSE, if you're familiar with them in Ventura County, to onboard them and help us do some more targeted engagement with underserved communities, engaging in this process. That's also a priority of DWR and this grant. And we also continue to work on engaging with tribal partners as well, and trying figuring out what's the best way to engage with them and involve them in the project. And so we've already started that, and we'll continue doing that. And then, as well as kind of mentioned before, I think some of our consultants are right now gathering up information for the water budget, and then also looking at climate scenarios for us to kind of review the advisory group and consider at the next upcoming advisory group meeting. So there's a lot of also work going on. I think they're also working on the historical, what do they call it? Historical climate or weather, extreme weather events. There's a record, that's part of the grant we have to provide and create. So I think that's being populated as well. And they've been creating a large list of all of the documents and what to find in those documents, and they have a large spreadsheet for review. So they have been diving deep into all of those resources that many of you have also specifically provided us or flagged for us as well.
We try to find what are all the benefits of this process for all of us, because there's an extra work. We really appreciate everybody's attendance to this issue or attention to this project. But in the end, you know, what will we get out of it? And one of the things we'll get is this nice database of a collection that is fairly, will be fairly comprehensive, as Laura said, of all the resources, studies, information around climate change, water budgets, a lot of water information is going to be consolidated in one place, which will be a value, as well as information about the various networks and participants, you know, within the region. So that's a benefit. And, you know, we really appreciate everybody's attention to this. We've gotten some good responses from folks when we reach out and ask for information. So I wanted to add a little bit more on the tribal and underserved community engagement, because I see that a number of you on this meeting are similarly engaged in other projects where you are actually or attempting to engage with tribes on the work you're doing. And we are really trying to work with other entities such as the county. RCD already has some other projects where they're engaging with tribal members. I presume you know, you can in the Farm Bureau. I mean, some of you have these relationships, and so we will really appreciate, you know, anything you want to contribute to how you've had good cooperation from either the Barbareño, Ventureño band of Mission Indians, Chumash Indians, in this area or other tribal members. There's lots of groups now around, groups of individual tribal members working on prescribed burns and education and other things. We've been working closely with Julie Tumamite Stensley for many years, and she continues to be a partner with us on this project. I'm not sure if she's on the meeting today, but she agreed to serve on the advisory group. So we should be seeing her at those meetings. And we've been communicating with her regularly. We also have been getting a lot of assistance from the state. They've put on a couple of webinars for all of us in the pilot region world. And we had one webinar recently where each of the pilots presented what they're doing. And we had some tribal engagement at that event, not as much as we would have liked, but Julie did participate, which was great. So this is an area where everybody seems to struggle trying to have meaningful contact, not just to check the box, we talk to a tribal person, but actually meaningful engagement on all the things we're doing in this project. So just to keep you a little bit updated on that. And we should probably post, Laura, we can talk about this, posting some of the webinar recordings or materials, on a special tribal area of and Heidi, we could maybe put some tribal resources out on our website. So I think that's our last slide. Right? Is there any other? We got through that really fast. I don't know. Is there any questions or thoughts or anything else anyone wants to bring up?
Well, thank you, Lynn and Laura. And you guys feel free to, if you haven't already, put your email in the chat, just in case anyone does have any. I think most people here have your email, but just in case. Before we break for the field trip, Casey, did you want to share any information with us?
Yeah, let's see. I have a couple slides here, just to provide a little overview of.
Yeah, you're a little quiet, Casey. Can you bring your speaker closer to you or something?
Yeah, is that
Thank
better?
you. That's better.
Okay. I was saying, I have a couple slides that I could share that kind of just provides an overview of our monitoring for steelhead. But I know we're kind of limited on time. And I have to travel down to the Ventura site to give the tour. So
Yeah, we can always we could do a recap at a future meeting.
Yeah, and I can provide this overview kind of without slides at the site too. So maybe let's do that.
Okay. Is there anything, I'm out in Somas, so I might be showing up on the later end of people showing up. So don't feel like you need to wait for me to get started, Casey. I have that the start time will be around 10:30. Anything we should know before we break?
I also might be running a little late. I got to stop, make one stop on the way down there. So I might get there closer to 10:45, but if people get there before me, that's fine. It's at the Ojai Valley Sanitation kind of wastewater plant. And I think you provided some directions on kind of how to get in there.
Yeah.
There's 2 gates and some codes. And then you'll kind of get to a big open area with kind of distilling basins for water. And our shed is over in the, let's see, that would be the northwest corner of that open area. And that's kind of where we'll meet.
Okay. And my coworker, Rachel, she lives pretty close to the site, so she's going to already be there. So don't worry if you don't see me there. Look for, she's blonde. She might be in like a RCD shirt or something. So she'll be there.
Okay.
Does she have the codes?
Yeah, she has the codes.
Yeah, and I can put the codes in the chat if anyone.
Yeah, put the codes in. I didn't want to send them out like all over to everyone, but in our meeting group is fine.
All right. Yeah. Give me 1 sec here. I don't
Okay.
remember the top of my head. But there's 2 gates. The outer gate should be open. It usually is on weekdays. And yeah, there should be plenty of room to park in there. Anyone have questions about getting down there?
Is it well marked, or do we just you have to really pay attention when the app tells you to turn?
Yeah, it's not well marked. There's no real sign or anything.
Okay.
It's kind of at the intersection with the Ventura River pedestrian bike trail. That's kind of the only marker to kind of look for, but yeah.
Okay, thank you, Casey. All right, so those of you attending the field trip, I'll see you over there, and keep an eye out for my coworker Rachel. I'll probably be there first. Thank you.
Hi, Heidi. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi, this is Brian Bondi. I've been on the phone. Can somebody text me the codes, please?
Yeah, I can text them to you. Let me write down your phone number really quick. Hopefully you won't need them because my coworker is going to be there to let people in. But you are
Okay, thank you.
805-21, you're 805-212-0484.
That's correct.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye.
And then I'm just going to add that there are buildings there, and that's not where you kind of want to end up.
Okay.
You want to end up in this kind of wastewater distilling basin area, not by the actual buildings that people are working in.
Okay. Thank you. See you soon, Casey.
All right.
Bye, everybody.